symptoms was your child having that brought you to our office?
Andrew has a long history of having a lot of difficulty with emotional control, and he will very frequently have extreme reactions to very minor events that would result in, tantrums that would be very aggressive and violent, and he would just go on and scream and yell. He also had a lot of sensory issues and had very poor proprioception. He was always running into things, tripping over things, very uncoordinated with things like pumping his legs on a swing or riding a bicycle or swimming. Those were all really hard for him. Anything that involved bilateral movement, he had a really hard time with. And then, of course, that would contribute to getting frustrated, and then we'd have a meltdown. So it was kind of a vicious cycle.
What other approaches have you tried?
Andrew had already a lot of intervention at school in terms of occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech therapy, lots of behavior modification approaches, which never really worked very well. And he's also been on medication since he was quite young, since he was about 5 or even 4, I think. 4 is when he started on medication. So that helped somewhat with symptom control, but not with the overall behavioral picture. He's still having a lot of trouble with emotional regulation, and the whole sensory part was still really, really difficult for him. He's also always really sensitive to loud noises, and crowded rooms were really, really hard for him.
What drew you to Connections?
I heard good things about Connections just kind of out in the community, and some different people had recommended to me that I come here and talk with Bryce and get a consultation. And then I encountered him at a conference put on at the Prep Center, and saw him there and saw him talking to other parents and thought he looked like a pretty nice guy. And then I came out for the initial consultation and was very impressed with his knowledge and his manner, and just the interaction I had with him was so positive. And then when he gave me the list of other parents to call, it turns out there was somebody on there that I knew, and I called her and talked to her about how it had helped her daughter, who was autistic. And that was, I think, for me, kind of the clincher.
What changes have you observed since starting the Connections program?
For Andrew, Bryce told me from the beginning that he was going to need more than just the 12 weeks of therapy because of the extent of his issues. So what I really saw during those first 12 weeks was a tremendous, tremendous improvement in his balance and coordination and his awareness of where his body is in space. He is just so much more comfortable in his own body and has come a long, long way in terms of the bilateral alternating movements and things. He's much more capable of doing that now. And he doesn't tilt to one side anymore. So primarily in the sort of physical and sensory range is where I've seen the most improvement in him. The behavior continues to be a challenge, but that is the more difficult long-term part of things that we're still working on.
Would you recommend this program to other families, and if so, why?
Not only I would, but I have. I've actually recommended this to numerous families, and some of my friends have come here and had their children go through the program, and they have also seen positive results. Other people, are very, very interested, but for various reasons have not yet been able to pursue that. I think the main reason that I do recommend this is that other types of treatment deal with the symptoms. They deal with, trying to either cover up symptoms or medicate symptoms or change behaviors externally. And what's different about Connections is that it is addressing the underlying neurological functioning of the brain itself, which is a much more long-term, permanent fix for these children and all the neurological issues that they have. and I think, just has tremendous, tremendous promise for not only my son, but a lot of other children as well. Because if you can get the brain working properly by stimulating those parts that are under functioning, that is going to be a lifetime changing, really life altering treatment, as opposed to just medicating symptoms. So I am very, very happy that Bryce and Megan are here. They're offering this therapy, and I think that they can make a tremendous difference in the lives of many, many children who are going through an awful lot of trauma, and their parents are going through trauma, and it's very hard living with a child with neurological disabilities. They can be extremely challenging to parent, and I would really encourage you to come and talk to Bryce and Megan and give this a try. See if it'll help your child too.
Great. Thanks a lot, Karen.